Evening all, so here we go again. Now with this one I think we're going to title Prototype Suits and Lasers because as I've said before, you've probably seen in a previous video, hopefully, I've now got a prototype suit that I'm rather proud of. Now again, in terms of the prototype suits and generally how they work, it's no good having a prototype suit if all of your modules are crap. So you do need to get things like, if you're going to shield tank, you need to get the complex shield extenders. If you're armor tanking, you need to get the complex armor plates. So just bear in mind, basic, enhanced and complex, those are the three levels. And I really would stress, don't just go and get a prototype suit for Aurum if you've not got the kind of fit to go with it. So that's kind of number one thing to bear in mind. In terms of the weaponry as well, it's no point having a prototype suit if you don't have any good weaponry. So always try and have a good gun. I'm actually running my GEC on this prototype for no real reason. I think I just prefer the GEC at the moment. I'm quite enjoying the assault rifles again. I do use the laser quite a lot as well, as you'll see in this video. But no, it just comes down to what you're comfortable playing with, really. A lot of good players are using mass drivers. Again, it's really cool to see. We come across some mass drivers later on in this fight, but again, I think it's really just down to what makes you comfortable. And really, I think some of the people that we're finding now are generally running heavies. So we're seeing a lot of prototype heavy suits, but I'm using prototype scout suits, and you'll probably see why. My kind of gameplay style that I do is more based around evasion. I like, for example, see that dude, I can kind of just flank him, get behind him, daka dead. I'm more of that kind of player. I like kind of, if I see a group of enemies, I'm not going to rush at them. I'm going to basically work my way around them and maybe get a better vantage on them. So that's really kind of how I would prefer to play. And I think that extends into things like, getting on top of buildings, getting in good vantage points. Every suit I have, I think, has got spawn pads, because spawn pads are pretty much the only, kind of tactical surprise tool you've got for the squad. So, if you drop a spawn pad up here, for example, you can spawn up here, then you can surprise the enemy if they take B. So, I think, it comes down to what you're comfortable playing with. You have to specialize, don't get me wrong, but I'm generalizing with a lot of the stuff I have, you see, at the moment, and that's why I'm not as competitive as I could be, I think, because this dude here with his prototype he just took me out. Oh, actually, that might have been the Black Eagle one, but I don't know. But I think there's certainly this kind of premise where a lot of players are really specializing in certain things, and I would probably stress you should really do that. So I picked the Scout. I kind of regret it to a degree. I think the prototype assault suits are quite good, and I think you can maybe tank them a bit better. This prototype here has got, it's a bit of a shit fit, to be honest, but this footage is maybe about a week old as well, because I've just got my my complex plates and complex extenders. So I think I'm running about maybe 650 hit points on the scout suit, yet still able to run maybe 8.5 meters a second. Now I've also got a scout suit that does about 11 meters a second as well. It's not as strong, but we'll probably, I'll show you this in a fitting video maybe some other time. But I think certainly now I'm getting, most players, I'm sure you're all playing kind of in the same kind of ballpark. Most of you will be getting, or will have already got, prototype gears, and I think just be very careful how you go, because I'm seeing a lot of players do prototype heavies, which is perfectly fine, but all they're then doing is skilling up heavy machine guns. So that's it, that's their play style. One suit pretty much restricts you to forge gun or heavy machine gun. Now I know you can fit anything on it, don't get me wrong, you can fit lasers, you can fit ARs, but again I think the mobility is a big issue. So maybe don't discount the assault and the scout suit. I think they, I'm amazed at how many kills they get with this, and I rarely die. I think this map was quite a tough one. I think I died more on this map than most, but again I would stress it's something to kind of pick what you're comfortable doing in the game. Now again, I really do stress having lots of fits. So here I'm going to fit into my ambush runner, and let's just talk about that. I have a suit dedicated solely for running ambush. So when I'm on, usually later in the Euro time zone, and there's only, and I look for squads, no one's around, so I just generally go and run an ambush solo. I usually use this suit, which has got a good SMG. Well, it's not a great SMG, but it's an SMG, and I'm pretty good with them. It's got a laser rifle from mid-range, and it's a scout suit, I think A series. and all it's got is a very fast recharge. Now this is again slightly older, and my new version of this suit has a just about 200 shield, so it's a bit stronger, and it's a great suit, and it's cheap-ish. It's about 50k per run, so you die more than 3 times and you're not going to make your money. But to be honest, I rarely die that often. I mean, it's a good evasion tool, but you do have to play it with that thought in your head. You know, every time you're kind of coming against a group of enemies, so if I'm running up here, it'll be stupid of me to run in there. But I see players do that, even with heavy suits and scout suits and whatever it may be. They'll just run headlong into what could be a you know, a real kind of shitstorm. So always have that consideration, because you need to play to the style that, you know, makes sense. And when I'm really on my game, you know, when I'm not kind of, you know, either had a few drinks or when I'm not knackered from work, when I have a really good kind of, you know, head in the game, a game kind of game, then I think I do quite well in terms of evasion is my biggest tactic. So as I come up to a base like this, if I see a red and I'm going to run away, and it looks like I'm running away, but I'm actually just getting a vantage point, or I'm actually getting out of his AR range, and I'm then able to laser him, or, you know, whatever fit I've got, and I'm able to respond. And I think it's well worth considering, you know, playing in that style. If you're going to run prototypes, then that's cool. Look at that, 2-in-1. If you're going to run prototypes, then I think, you know, unless you've got the suit for risk, you're probably going to be paying a little bit of aurum for each suit, the Neo ones. If that's the case, then just make sure that, you know, you're not using them foolishly, because again, I got a bit guilty of, certainly guilty of, when I start using this good stuff, I'll just use it continually, even when maybe I don't need to. So this is why I have many different grades of suits, and I think this is probably, if I could give you one word of advice, this is maybe something to consider, is I have the ambush runner, which is all for risk. I have then my prototype suit, which is aurum for the suit, and then ISK for everything else. And then I have a mixture of maybe other suits around that. So you've got your kind of cheap, you know, shit fit suit. Even if you can make a free suit, you know, so I've got a scout suit that's free with a militia shotgun, for example. So that's a pretty decent, you know, range of gear. Now again, I think a lot of players, certainly the players we play against, and I think particularly in this map, they just throw the same suits at us. And I mean, these guys were coming up with prototype gear continually, and they were getting stomped. I mean, not by us just generally, but just by the blue team. They were getting absolutely owned, and they just kept coming with prototype gear. So it was a bit odd, you know. I think certainly some of the guys maybe just have a either they've got very deep pockets, or maybe they just think that that's the only way to win. And I would stress it's not. I think just have a good range of suits, and you'll be surprised actually how better, you know, equipped you can then be. But again, that's your call entirely. I think in terms of these maps, these are good fun. I think, you know, the biggest challenge we always have in most of our games currently is because we're really focusing on squad play, and I do mean that. And again, just to, you know, in terms of, you know, if you want to join the corp, apply. But bear in mind, we generally try to play in squads now. This is all linked to the fact that, oh god, AV grenade out. But I think this is due to the fact that we really do want to play this game as a squad, and I think when certainly Planetary Conquest comes and other such stuff, the guys that play in squads are going to do the best, and I think that's just a given, surely, because you know, it doesn't matter how good a solo player you are, 2 guys with ARs and militia gear will kill you probably. Okay, 3 certainly will, 4 definitely will. So, you know, always have that consideration that you know, you're better off in a team, but tactics win all the time. And this is, again, I mean, a lot of people kind of shitpost with me about, you know, PlanetSide 2 being better than Dust and all that, and I just think you're wrong, because, you know, in PlanetSide 2, hardly anybody plays as a squad properly. Do you know what I mean? Yes, you do get them, you get the outfits, and they're pretty good fun, but I just think in terms of the roles and the tactics, you know, it's not as profound as what you have here. You have a very detailed and elegant kind of squad-based game here, all basically wrapped around a pretty decent, you know, MMO. So I think it's certainly something to consider from that point. But anyway, that's another time. End of the match, and just as always typical, I always seem to die at the end of the match. But there we go, victory. And that was good fun, and we had, again, really good, you know, good kind of squad play going. You always have your lodges, you always have your mid-range, you have your fast, you know, scouts, you know, for things like drop pads and ammo and stuff. So again, I think it's good fun. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that. This is certainly what we're trying to do a lot more of, is just this really focused squad play, and as you can see, it works out pretty well. So there we go. Hope you enjoyed that. See you next time.